Gen V Season 2 has wrapped up, and as a huge fan of The Boys, it really surprised the hell out of me. It somehow shifts the power scale of superheroes in this universe, but also balances the heroes in college element really well. Season 1 was surprisingly good. It works well with its own basic tie-ins to the universe, but Season 2 truly does step up its game. I think a lot of the draw of Season 1 does get lost with how the characters evolve. We kind of lose the college aspect of Gen V, but this series works in becoming more grand and mystery based, just like The Boys seasons 1 through 4. Warning, this video will contain spoilers for Gen V Season 2. Simply put, I think why this season works can be encapsulated by the power scaling that's done here. We find out throughout the course of Season 2 that Marie is arguably the strongest soup to ever exist. Project Odessa is Marie and Homelander. I really love the back and forth that Marie has as a character, going from I'm the only one who can stop this to I don't even want to be the chosen one. At a certain point in episode 7, she literally threatens to kill her friends if they don't let her go kill Cypher. I didn't even possibly realize how powerful and interconnected and important Marie could be as a character, and maybe that just completely blindsided me, but I love that that's the direction the series went in. But I think that also leads to a key flaw of Season 2 of Gen V, in that the writing of this season is so all over the place. Maybe not as all over the place as Season 1 or 2 of The Boys, where they're introducing a million different elements, but it feels like there is so much that just doesn't pay off by the end of this series. It feels like this needed an episode or two more to actually flesh out all of the ideas that were set up. I think that's inherently going to happen because this is a series or sub-series that completely shifted its idea, I guess, after the way that the Season 4 of The Boys impacted where Season 5 was going to go, in the sense that these characters are now very important. And so obviously there had to have been a big shift in the writing. It can't just be a shits and gigs superheroes at university show anymore. They have to really be impacted and influenced in a way that makes them important to Season 5 of The Boys. On a villainous aspect, Hamish Linklater is one of the best aspects of this season. I love the twist in episode 7 where we find out that Cypher isn't the villain and that Godolkin was controlling him the whole time. Hamish Linklater is absolutely amazing. I haven't seen him in much. I know he voices the Caped Crusader Batman, and now I've seen him in this, but the balance that he has, the difference in him versus the controlled version of him, he is just phenomenal. It's really weird to talk about Godolkin as a character because obviously we really only get him for like an episode and a quarter maybe, but Ethan Slater is really good for the small amount that we get him in. And everyone on Twitter obviously knew that Godolkin was the old guy, probably controlling Cypher because he didn't have any V in his blood, but I really did think that the evolution of drawing these hints and the mystery of Cypher as a character as a whole was really well executed and at least intriguing for like 90% of the season.
Humans and race traitors, you are not students. You're soldiers, and you will fight for the cause. So my mission is to cull this herd.
Godolkin as a villain had great characterization in the latter aspects of this season, and I loved that he's able to play the same button game that Cypher did. I love that he's able to actually explore his ideas and his personal morals. We get a goal set. It is, he wants to control Homelander, but that starts with Marie because they're both part of Project Odessa. But at the same time, this circles back to my point of, at a certain point, it gets too little too late. With only one episode left, and it being one of the shortest of the series, we didn't get much of Godolkin. It felt very underwhelming. I'm not saying his death wasn't deserved, but it definitely felt a little bit rushed. I was super invested in this Godolkin, Marie, Homelander power dynamic, even though we didn't see Homelander in any of this. And I think that proves that the overall writing and plot and conflict that they came up with was very interesting. But again, they never go anywhere with that. Godolkin kind of gets pushed to the side because, again, there is so much more bigger picture stuff going on in The Boys Season 5. With Marie herself, I think she is now a top 3 character of the franchise, at least in my opinion, just because she has some real emotional nuance. In The Boys universe, we have a lot of pure evil, or heroes turned evil, or a lot of morally gray characters, but a lot of them always lean one side or another. Marie is different just because she is still just a kid. The revelations about Project Odessa and the way that Godolkin has influenced her growing up, all of the stuff with her sister being reintroduced in this season and her dynamics with Kate and Jordan, I think all of it is just executed so perfectly. And Marie as a character is paced so well in this season that I think it just works against the season as a whole because it focuses so much more on her her rather than the other characters. But at the same time, for me personally, I thought the main cast of characters in general was so well executed in the first season, and they're not gonna be like, they can't all be the most important superhero. Like, Marie is the main character, so I don't mind that we focused much more on her. With the focus much more on Marie, it does lean a little away from the superheroes in college, I guess, elevator pitch for what Gen V as a spinoff is, and it leads more into the political mystery. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that, because again, when Gen V season 1 came out, I was 18 years old, starting college, and I found this concept to be mind-blowingly interesting as a huge fan of The Boys in general. But on the flip side of that, I really like how this series has evolved, because there's only so much dilly-dallying you can do. Even in the latter aspects of season 1, we are getting away from just superpowers in college. This season has a little bit of that shits and gigs, what are some crazy powers that kids can have in college. But other than that, it does focus on an overall mystery. These characters are really on the run and trying to avoid Cypher's control. I, for one, really liked how the series has kind of shifted dynamics, but I also, again, think that we needed more time with it. Because of the shift in story priority, I would say that this feels less like a Gen V season 2 and more like a The Boys season 4.5, which I think is what everyone thought Gen V season 1 would be, kind of a middle ground tying in thing. But I think season 2 of Gen V is going to tie way more into season 5 of The Boys than the latter seasons. Before getting into where we'll go in The Boys season 5 with this cast of Gen V characters, we do have a little bit of an update on if we're going to get a Gen V season 3. To put it simply, Eric Kripke and the showrunner, in different words, have both said that if Gen V season 2 makes enough money, if they get enough viewership, just like any other TV show, they will make another season. They do have plans for Gen V season 3, and I think that sentence in and of itself proves that Marie isn't necessarily going to die in The Boys season 5, but we'll get there in a second. In regards to season 5 of The Boys, there is a couple of tie-ins in the final episodes. Some of them aren't necessarily one for one, but I think we can infer as people that have seen 4 seasons of this franchise so far. In some underlying way, Sage has proved her loyalty to not only Homelander, but also the communications to Starlight by ratting out Godolkin's overall plan, which is again how Starlight found the cast of Gen V as they're running away. But the surprise cameos in the finale was Annie and then A-Train come in to recruit the Gen V crew into the Resistance. This, on a power scaling level, is very interesting because obviously Marie hasn't honed in her powers as much as Homelander has, but they're both part of Project Odessa. So I wonder where Marie will go from here. I don't really think Marie will be the one to necessarily stop Homelander because the Butcher and Homelander conflict is way more interesting already. The showrunner Eric Kripke has confirmed that The Boys season 5 will take place about 6 months after Gen V season 2. And from a trailer that was exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con, there were a couple of Gen V characters that were confirmed to be in The Boys season 5. So I do think this will be a big Resistance versus Homelander thing that we all saw coming, but now the question is, how important will Marie be to this story, and how much of a threat of death will she actually have if we already know that there are plans for a Gen V season 3? But that wraps up all of my thoughts on Gen V season 2. As always, let me know what you thought of this season in the comments down below and your theories for The Boys season 5. Also hit that subscribe button as I will be uploading a bunch more reviews and rankings regarding The Boys franchise in this coming weekend. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.